Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Proline. As we head into the back end of the NFL regular season, the bowls are about to begin. This is the off week in college football, just the Army-Navy game. But next week, the bowls. But nevertheless, you want to check out our college edition of Proline because we're going to have some really good bowl tips for you on that edition. And, you know, I think it's going to get you paid. But right now, we're going to try and get you paid in the National Football League with a couple of interesting games to look at this weekend and some other items as well. Jim Feist is here, John Creighton as well. My name's Dave Koken, and we are glad to have you with us. Jim, you've got, before we do anything else, before we look at the NFL games, let's ring in the holidays. Jim, you have your first, I guess this is the first item to be placed under the trees of people who are watching us, but they don't have to wait until Christmas Day to open the present. They can get it right now.
You talking about my early bird bowl package? $199 online, $29.
Yes.
If you sign up, that's a holiday, man. I got jingle bells, jingle bell rock. Here we go. It's $29. If you call right now, you play through Monday night in the NFL. 1-866-841-1655. This bowl package is it's a pretty awesome thing. $199 online, $29 if you sign up right now, and you get a bonus because you play the NFL through Monday night as well. 1-866-841-1655. We will have a lot of bowl winners this year, as we always do. So that's 1-866-841-1655.
John, you're sitting in for Mr. Vegas this week, off a Mountain West Conference Game of the Year winner in Fresno. Wish I'd have gone along with that one. I had Utah State in the game. I had a great weekend, but Utah State was the loser for me. What does Mr. Vegas have in store this weekend?
Yeah, it was a 7-4 football weekend overall, including that Mountain West Conference Game of the Year with Fresno. You get a full week of action, 7 full days in all sports from Mr. Vegas for $7. It's going to include Sunday's AFC Total of the Year. Just call 1-866-896-1627, Dave.
Okay, well, I had my week at this time of year, and I don't say this to sound smug. It's just true. You don't really want to be opposite me in a college football game at this time of year. This is, it doesn't. It's not that I don't start the season well. I mean, but at the end of the year, my numbers and my instincts are completely locked in. I had another really good weekend in college football. I did mention I lost the Utah State game. They didn't play well at all. That's about it, folks. Had a really big play on South Alabama. Loved them. That might have been the strongest bet I've seen all year in college football. I mean, it was just a perfect situation for the Jaguars. Did well in the big games. It's just the time of year where you don't want to be opposite me in college football, and that means the bowl package. I think that's the best bowl package around because what you're going to get is a play on every single bowl game. Now, some are going to be stronger than others, obviously, okay? But there's 35 bowls. You're going to get 35 plays. Might be a total, might be a side. Depends on the game. But you're going to get a play on every single bowl game. And what I'm going to do, now I've been selling this for $49. This is a special only for those of you watching this show. If you don't see this show, you're not going to know about it. $25 gets you the bowl special. It also gets you a 5-play Saturday countdown in college basketball. And I should mention that bowl special includes my college bowl game of the year, which on its own is going to sell for $99. So, I mean, you're talking about a ton of value here. And it's one low price, $25. The catch is you got to call in the next day or two on this because the price goes back up after that. So take advantage, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Okay, the Twitter question of the week, or it can be the Facebook question of the week as well for Jim, John, and myself. You want to follow us on Twitter at Jim Feist Sports or on Facebook at Proline TV. And from Amy Gregg in Minneapolis, the Texans just fired their head coach, and Mike Shanahan is next. Would agree with that, certainly. What do you look for to predict whether a team is ready to play for the new coach or if they're packing it in? It varies from team to team. You have to kind of get a sense for it because there's no there's no way of knowing for sure. I mean, I'll give you some examples this year in college football. You had 2 interim coaches take over, and their teams were phenomenal. USC, with Ed Orgeron, obviously, they did extremely well. And under the radar, Connecticut, which told Paul Pasqualoni to get lost, and they played really well at the end of the year, including last Saturday. Connecticut just had a play on that. Connecticut just blew out their opponent. You can also look at some other programs this year that fired their coaches and they were horrible. They got even worse. So, it varies from team to team. I have a tendency to think in the NFL, you're still going to see teams play hard for Houston, and also, I think Shanahan's there for the rest of the year anyway, but the players know he's not. But the players in the NFL aren't likely to get depressed and give up for a real simple reason. They're getting paid. And if they play like crap, they might not be getting paid next season. Somebody else will come in and take their job. So to me, I don't think it makes a team play any harder, but you might actually get a little more focus in the NFL at times. Tough to say. I would definitely watch the Houston Texans this weekend to see what kind of a reaction they have. And you can, it means you can't bet the first game. Okay, fine. But you can bet it after that and take advantage of the last 2 weeks of the season based off what you see this weekend. Would you buy that, Jim? I mean, if the Texans go out and play a good game this weekend, they're probably worth playing the last 2 weeks as well.
I would say so. I mean, this is a division game for the Texans. And the other thing is, if you talk about a specific game, but the question was kind of a general question. But if you narrow it down to a specific game like this, the Colts are not that good a football team. They lost Reggie Wayne. Their running game really isn't that strong. Their offensive line isn't that strong. They've been outplayed in the stats almost every game of the year. They came up with a lot of victories the last 2 years because of fortunate situations. There was a lot of motivation last year because of the health reasons for the coach, and a lot of things went their way. It's not going that way this year. Now, they're fortunate this year. They're in a division where they're not getting any competition. They've already locked up their division. There's nobody going to beat them. So they're in the playoffs. They're not playing well right now. Houston, they're not playing for a head coach right now that they know is going to be there next year. Wade Phillips is not going to be the head coach, so they're kind of auditioning for whoever else might come in. That could be Shanahan coming out of Washington. That's possible. Or it could be somebody else. The best head coaching moves so far this year have been Trestman and Kelly. They came in as offensive coaches, Trestman coming out of Montreal, but with 12 years of NFL experience. And I predicted that he would do very well as an offensive coach for Chicago. And they have become a powerhouse offensively. Their defense has let them down, but their offense has done very well. And Chip Kelly, no one's doing any better than that. So maybe these teams are going to look a little bit differently and get away from going back to the old standard type coach that hasn't done well somewhere else, broken down. Now you pick him up as a head coach. He comes in, you expect him to do well. It's kind of like if everything's broken and you keep going back and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's a definition of insanity. Maybe they got to step outside the box and do something a little bit differently. So I think, like Dave said, a lot of these teams are going to play strong because they don't know what's going to happen and they want to keep their jobs. Now, you've got guys down in Houston. Schaub, for example, is the quarterback. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. Will he get renewed? Will he move on somewhere else? I mean, this guy threw more pick sixes than he threw touchdown passes this year. So he's a real question mark as to where he's going to work next year, if he's going to work. I'm sure he'll get a backup job somewhere. So I do feel Dave was right. I think a lot of these players are going to play hard because they're playing for their jobs. And, not everybody gets 10-year, $15 million a year contracts. Some of these guys are only making $300,000, $500,000, $600,000, which isn't bad money, but they're not guaranteed contracts that they're going to get a job next year.
All right, let's look at
history shows that.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, history shows that it's a mixed bag with these coaches. I mean, the Redskins in 01, they started 0-5, fired their coach. Marty Schottenheimer stepped into this train wreck situation. He went 5-0 straight up and against the spread. The Oakland Raiders, no matter who they fire in midseason, it really doesn't seem to matter. And then you look at the Colts last year with Chuck Pagano's illness. Bruce Arians stepped in, did a masterful job. Now he goes to Arizona, and that team overachieves, and the Colts are kind of struggling. So the answer to the question really comes down to the competency of the head coach, their ability to organize, teach, and motivate.
All right, let's look at some football. We'll start it off with the Patriots and Dolphins. The Patriots are 10-3. They have clinched a tie for the AFC East title. They will, wrap it up at some point, probably right here. If they win this football game, that race is over. And the Patriots are going to be in the playoffs, but they're also going to be minus yet another player. And I think this is a really big injury to Rob Gronkowski. They've clearly been a better football team since he got back on the field. He expands the passing game. Gronkowski with a really bad injury last weekend. He's done for the year. I don't even know at what point he comes back next year. It's basically a complete blowout of the knee, and you knew it as soon as it happened. And yet still his team continues to find ways to win football games, but this can be difficult for them going down to Miami. The Dolphins are the second best team in the division, and they're still in the race. Everybody's in the race, basically, the AFC. The Dolphins are sitting at 7-6. They actually, I believe they control their own destiny. I don't have the playoff breakdown in front of me, but, if they win out, which is possible, they're going to be in the playoffs. So, this is a tough game, and at some point, I'm not going to say the Patriots are going to give up because they're never going to. But at some point, these things have to catch up with them. And if you recall, during the weeks that Gronkowski was not available to them early in the season, they really struggled to find an offensive identity. Now, some of the younger receivers have come on since that time and are better players than they were then. But this is still a team with a lot of issues. And the injury problems at some point have to start having an impact. I have not made a play on this game yet. I don't know if I will. But right now, I'm kind of leaning to the Dolphins, John.
Yeah, I got a sense that the Patriots really going to do fine the rest of the regular season. I think this is really a good spot for them. I mean, Miami comes off that game in the cold weather in Pittsburgh. It was a great effort to get the upset, but still, that's the same team that the Patriots just flogged 55-31. This Miami team still has a lot of problems. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, 20 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, not very impressive. A whopping 48 sacks. Let's not forget how the problems they've had with this offensive line. And even in last week's win, they gave up 412 yards to the Steelers. The loss of Gronkowski for the Patriots is significant for me for the postseason. I think the regular season is going to be fine because they're just going to adapt like they always do, go back to their 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. Another thing I see with this game would be a high-scoring one. You get the Patriots playing in warm weather in Miami. They're on a 47-22 run over the total. When they play the AFC, they're 36-16 over the total. So, Jim, I like the Patriots and the over in this one.
Well, traditionally, John, I respect your opinion there. Traditionally, division games tend to go under the total. That's because there's a lot of pressure on the teams. But I'm looking at this particular line on this game, and it's not that super high. It was at 46 a couple spots. We're still looking at 45.5, 46. It's not a bad number. Like you said, they're going to go back to the spread offenses, the 4 wides. Gronkowski, the difference, what happens, if you look at the first bunch of games where Gronkowski was out and then when he came back, is the red zone. The Patriots become a field goal team when they get the red zone. Without Gronkowski. With him, they were scoring touchdowns, and that means every time they score, it's 4 points less. Now, if that continues, it's going to be hard for this game to go over if they start kicking field goals again because he's out. Because he is a red zone monster. You just can't match up with him. If that happens again, it's going to be hard for this game to go over. Although my instinct with the game would be to say over in the game. But I'm going to probably pass this and see. The one thing about the Patriots this year, it's almost like they're too rich. They're almost like they're too rich to care. If you look at this team this year, they've come out in so many games and not played well early. And then they come back and they win. They won last week coming back. They've done this repeatedly throughout the year. It's almost like they're not focused. I mean, Belichick is a very wealthy man, a lot of championships. Brady, who has more money than Brady? Pretty wife, great house, a lot of championships. These guys just don't seem motivated to play the everyday routine stuff. Now, when they get down to it and they're behind, then they start to play. And they are brilliant. When they want to play, they're brilliant. You don't want to stand in their way. They did the same thing against Denver. I mean, they come back and they win. And Denver's up 28-0. Cleveland last week had them buried. And arguably, if they didn't have what I thought was a bad call by the refs, Cleveland would have beat them. So it was horrible. And so I just don't get the motivation from New England. And I understand they're talented and they're better than most teams. And they may be, when healthy, the best team in the AFC. Maybe. But they're not healthy. They seem to be undermotivated. You're going to get a lot of motivation out of Miami because they haven't been there in a long time. They're not going to come in cocky. They know they're the underdog. So I'm not real happy playing New England, depending on them, because they seem to only play in the second half of their football games, and I just don't know what to expect.
All right, we're going to check in with our man on the street right now, Jeff Saad from LVSS. Jeff has a free NFL total for us. Hi, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Got a free pick coming up in the NFL, but first get the rest of December plays from Las Vegas Sports Service in basketball, NBA, NFL, and the Bowls for $19. That includes the college basketball game of the month Saturday and my NFL total of the month on Sunday. More than 2 weeks of action with LVSS for just $19. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. Free play comes the NFL Sunday as the Redskins and Falcons meet in Atlanta. What's worse than the Atlanta defense? The Washington defense. The Redskins can't stop anybody. 27th in the NFL against the pass. The last 4 road games, Washington has allowed 24, 34, 45, and 31 points. Throw in a 38-20 September loss at Green Bay, and this defense has been a road disaster. At least they faced an equally bad defense this week in the Falcons, bottom 6th against the run and the pass. This Atlanta defense faced 5 straight conservative offenses that allowed 30, 23, 27, 34, 33, and 41 points to the Bucks, Jets, Seahawks, and Cardinals. This game is indoors, which will help the offenses and take the Redskins and Falcons over their total. Once again, get the rest of December from LVSS, college basketball, NBA, NFL, and the Bowls for only $19. That includes a college basketball game of the month on Saturday and my NFL total of the month on Sunday. More than 2 weeks of action for only $19. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916.
All right, thanks, Jeff, and good luck this weekend. Free plays every day. This is the easiest thing in the world. You don't have to do anything except just send a text message, and you're gonna get back free plays. Mine are by texting Kokin, COKIN, at 313131. I have one free play every day. Checking the records, going back to the beginning of March 2012 when basically started this, plus 103 games. Plus 103 games to nothing. That would be the ultimate no-brainer. Text Kokin, COKIN, to 313131. Jim, same thing with you. A free play every day via text message.
It is a great, simple system. You pick up your cell phone, you text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131. Each and every day we'll send you a free play right to your cell phone. That's WINNER, WINNER, to 313131. Get a free play right to your cell phone. Nothing could be easier.
We haven't looked at a lot of big number games this year, but we're going to do one here. Jim, you discovered some interesting things on the Carolina Panthers. They're at home against the Jets. Panthers are big favorite, 11. Total's 40.5. Some really interesting things about when they've produced offensively and when they haven't.
Well, I don't know why, but everybody thinks of the Panthers as a high-scoring team, Cam Newton, etc., Smith, wide receiver. But they're really more of a defensive team with a strong running game. Now, Stewart is a little banged up, and I don't know that we're going to see him for the next couple of weeks. Cam is he's hit and miss. He's a good quarterback. He's got a lot of potential. He's a tremendous athlete, big, strong guy, can do a lot of damage. But this team has not produced consistently, when I started looking at what that meant, I've noticed that when they go up against 3-4 defenses, they just have not figured them out. Last week, they faced Rob Ryan. It's 3-4 defense. They did the same against Arizona. Did not produce. They're facing another 3-4 defense in the Jets. And you can say what you want about the Jets. I think they stink mostly. But when it comes up to playing defense, they play pretty well. And they occasionally run the ball pretty well as well. It's been Geno Smith and his turnovers that have cost the Jets a lot this year. I don't know if he'll produce the turnovers again, because that does create points for the other side. If he holds on to the ball and doesn't turn it over, and they play a cleaner game like they did last week, this is a dangerous spot for Carolina. Last week was a very, very important game. Going down to the Saints, this is the team that were battling for the division crown, and they embarrassed themselves. After winning 7 or 8 straight games in a row, they did not show up. Now, true, the Saints were motivated coming off the thrashing by Seattle, but they didn't show up in that game, and that was the most important game of the year for them. Now they come home. Their bubble has been burst. No question about it. We know they're not going to win their division. So they're playing for wild card spots now. And they're playing up against a team here that has a pretty good defense, and it's the kind of defense they have not done well against, and they're laying double digits. Word to the wise, guys.
Yeah, the Panthers are still in great shape for the playoffs because they're 9-4. And that might work against them here, because I think the mindset could be coming out of that Saints game, well, we're still going to make the playoffs. We'll get our shot at maybe some revenge then. It's a dangerous mindset. And I don't think they'd have it if they were playing a better football team. In other words, if they had a game here against, just pick a team, Cincinnati, say, where they're, favored by a small number, they'd know that they're going to have to, really buckle down and get themselves back on top of their game to get a win. But they're playing a Jets team they're favored by 11 points against. That, to me, creates a letdown spot for a team that just ended an 8-game winning streak. It ended it with a thud. They led 6-0 in that game with a pair of field goals, and they got completely run out. Just absolutely run out by the Saints. So I think it's a bad spot on the side for Carolina. I also think that, you mentioned the turnovers being what could possibly propel the game over. I agree with that completely, Jim. That's other than that, it sure looks like a game where there's not going to be much offense. Geno Smith basically has not played 2 good games in a row all season, and he's off a good game, so he's due for the bad game. And sometimes the due theory does work. I don't think the Panthers are going to get a lot against this Jets defense. The Jets are going to play hard. They're 6-7, so they're still in the race. Listen, if the Jets get an upset and get to 7-7, they've got a real shot to make the playoffs in the AFC. So I think you get a big effort out of the Jets. It's just the wrong spot for the Panthers. I like the underdog. And I would look at the under as well, John.
Well, I can't be back in the Jekyll and Hyde Jets here. This team is 5-2 straight up at home, but 1-5 straight up, 2-4 ATS on the road. Yeah, they did win that big game against the Raiders, but look at the previous 3 games. Lost 37-14 at the Bills, 19-3 at the Ravens, 23-3 at home to division rival Miami. Geno Smith came out of a gimmick offense when he was at West Virginia. A lot of people predicted he's going to struggle in the NFL, having to learn everything. Well, he's been worse. 9 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, 39 sacks. Jets are 6-2 under the total in December. That's kind of the way I'm going to look at this game. And they're not a good team playing on natural grass, a run-oriented team. They're only 3-9 against the spread on grass. It's going to be tough for them to score against the Panthers defense that is 5th against the pass and number 1 against the run. The way that I'm going to look at this game, though, is more field goals, because the Panthers, when they face a team with a losing road record, they're a run-oriented conservative team. They're 22-8 under the total against those bad road teams. So both teams running the football, playing physical D. Guys, I'm going to take a look at this one under the total.
All right, let's head to the best bets. And John, I like what you just came up with from a point spread or total trend standpoint. And Jim, I like what you said as far as the Panthers having such trouble operating against the 3-4 defense. I think that combines you get the best of both worlds there. So I'm going to go with the under in the matchup between the Jets and Panthers. I know it's a low total. You don't see a whole lot of those in the NFL anymore, but to me that's kind of an indicator as to the way this game should be played out. So under in the Jets-Panthers, a really, really good special. My bowl package includes a selection on every single bowl game. Some of them won't be that strong. I mean, it's 35 games. You can't have 35 top plays. You can if you don't care about the other person's money. But the idea is we want to win for you, so you'll stay on with us for other offers as well. But you will get a play on every game, either a side or a total. And you'll get the big play. My bowl game of the year is included in this package. I'm also throwing in a 5-play Saturday college basketball countdown, and I'm doing it at a reduced price of just $25. The bowl package by itself has been selling for $49. That's the early bird rate. That's going to go up next week. That'll go up to $99. The bowl game of the year by itself is $99 when that shows up. The basketball plays, I don't know, you add them all up, it's probably worth about $500, somewhere in that area, in terms of individually what they'd sell for. You got to get the whole thing for $25. This is a Proline only special. Not going to be offered anyplace else. Not going to be offered online. So you're watching this right now. It basically opens the door for you to get this on the cheap. $25. 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. John, how about best bet for you in once again a recap of what's happening with Mr. Vegas this weekend?
Sure, best bet will be the Patriots. This Miami team is 3-3 at home. Patriots sent the blitz at Miami in the second half of the earlier meeting and smoked them in the second half. And the Pats are 5-2 ATS the last 7 meetings. If you want to play 7 straight days with Mr. Vegas, $7. You get all sports, football and basketball. It's going to include Sunday's AFC total of the year. Just call Mr. Vegas at 1-866-896-1627.
Jim, you got your bowl package, but you're throwing in an NFL bonus, and considering you're 21-9 in the NFL right now over the last few weeks, that's a pretty valuable bonus.
It is, Dave. And I got a couple of things to say. 21-9 in the NFL. I did lose with the Steelers last week, which was a huge disappointment to me. I really thought I had the right side there. I was wrong, or maybe I was right and just got unlucky. I don't know. But in any case, you don't win 100% of your games anyhow. But I was 3-1 in the college football last Saturday. I have my early bird bowl package. It's $199 online, $29 if you sign up now. And as Dave said, there's a bonus. You get the weekend plays in the NFL, which, like I said, I'm 21-9 in that. A good run. Now, just call 1-866-841-1655. Ask for my bowl package. It's $29. But I'm going to tell you something. And Dave's not telling you a lie here. Ask for his package too for $25. For $54, which is nothing. If you're a player, that's nothing. You get all of Dave's plays and my plays along with my bonus. You get both full packages. So if you're a player and you're watching this video, I think you are a player. So you want to make that call, 1-866-841-1655, and sign up not only for my bowl package, but for Dave's as well. And I'm going to agree with Dave as far as the total is concerned. Carolina is a hell of a defensive football team. They gave up a lot of points last week. They're embarrassed. They're going to come back. And they're not fighting against a team here that scores a lot of points generally. The problem with it is Geno Smith going to score points for the Panthers? So if he doesn't do that, this game is going under because you're not going to see a lot of points from either side unless he does that. So I'm going under as well.
Yeah, the Geno Smith factor, always a concern. All right, that's it.
By the way, we should probably. I know this is long. I know we're running long, but there's a lot of hodgepodge stuff going on in the NFL right now with coaching and players and quarterbacks. But Green Bay Packers are still in it. If Aaron Rodgers comes back, they are a contender.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's coming back. He's having another MRI. You got the Shanahan factor with Washington. They've switched. They actually made RG3 inactive. Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback for the rest of the football season. I don't know if Shanahan's going to be there or not. A lot of stuff going on. You know, a lot of these teams had high expectations. And another factor they're talking about, Chicago, where you got Trestman, you got Cutler, and you got this guy McNown.
Wow.
Cutler's going to cost them over $100 million to sign him. Are they going to go for the $100 million package with Cutler? Or are they going to go with something less with McCown so they can sign other players? Because they need a lot of help on defense. Their defense stinks. They held up, against Dallas, but that's Dallas. So there's a lot of things going on in the NFL I'm on top of, and that's why I've been winning. So stay tuned, folks.
And Geno Smith is worth about 20 points. You just never know which team.
Hey, listen,
yes.
We're done with this version of Proline, but we want to make sure that you guys check in for the first of the bowl editions of Proline. There is a college football edition, despite the fact that you've only got the one game this weekend with Army and Navy. We're going to take a look at a couple of the early bowls on that show and get you some tips for betting these bowl games. So make sure and check that out. Meanwhile, for Jeff Saad from LVSS and John Creighton and Jim Feist, I'm Dave Cook, and thanks for watching this show. Go get him this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.